Today we are going to be talking about one of the probably most asked questions that I get. Honestly, I've been getting asked this question since before I even started a YouTube channel, and that is how to price your products so that you're actually making money and profit in your business. I know that we all, got into this business probably because we loved candles, or at least that's hopefully why you got into it, or one of the reasons at least. But obviously we want to make money at our business and everything. Otherwise, we're probably not going to be in business for very long. So I'm going to be showing you guys the calculator that I use, as well as just how to generally price your products and stuff. Obviously, every business is different, and so, take this obviously just like any advice that you get from people on the internet with a grain of salt and everything. This is what I use for my business, and I know a lot of other businesses use, but every business obviously is a little bit different and everything. So we're gonna go over that. But yeah, let's get started. But before we do, if you're new here, my name is Nick with the 1994 Candle Co. And honestly, I am so glad that you're here today, friend. Okay, so what you're seeing now is actually Jeff Stanley. If you've been making candles for like more than a day, you probably have heard of him or know of him. Jeff Stanley with Stanley Handcrafted. He also has a supply website called West Sound Candle Supply. It does say DIY Candle Supply up here. I think he was using both names for a while, but when I try and type this name in, it just gives me an error message, like DIYcandlesupply.com. It just gives me an error message. So I would just use westsoundcandlesupply.com, and again, I'll have that linked down in the description box below, or either the description box or a pinned comment, either way. But yeah, so this is his website, and then he has this great little tab for resources. These two calculators right here are for calculating the amount of fragrance, I believe, that you're going to use in a candle. So if you need a fragrance load calculator, this is also great. But today we are going to be using his candle cost calculator. I originally thought about making my own candle cost calculator, but honestly it was just gonna be too much work. And so I figured, I've been using his for quite a while now, so I figured, you know what, I'll just share his. And this way obviously I get to support other makers, which is great. We're all just a happy family here. So I am actually going to be doing this with you guys. We are going to be pricing out my 6.5 ounce tin candles. And so yeah, we're just going to get started. So my wax, it is $117.95 after tax. And that is not, I would, if you have to ship your wax and stuff like that, absolutely you need to include shipping in this price and stuff. Just figure out, as best you can. I don't know if you get multiple supplies all at once or whatever, or you just get wax, but either way you need to definitely add shipping to that, because shipping is ridiculous, and it absolutely will eat into your costs. So definitely need to add shipping into that. Thankfully, I have a supplier here in Omaha, literally 10 minutes down the street from me, where I can pick up my wax, so I do not have to ship it, which is amazing. And then over here, you're going to type in the weight of how much that price is for. And so that is for 40 pounds. And then you'll see it start to calculate. That means I'm paying about $2.95 per pound, or 18 cents per ounce, which is crazy, because this same box of wax, when I started, literally same size, it was I think it was $50 or $60. So yeah. Anyway, but we're just not gonna focus on that right now. Next up is obviously your vessels. So for me, that's going to be my tins themselves. They do come from Amazon, so I don't pay shipping or anything like that. I mean, it's included in the price and everything. They have been on sale lately, but I would encourage you to, as you're pricing things out, absolutely, you want to get the non-sale price. Like, I mean, unless they just happen to be on sale like 24/7, which at that point it's basically just that's the price. But yeah, if they, if that sale is going to end at any time, or if there's a chance that it's going to end, which 99% of sales do, I would not use the sale price, because once you have to buy them at that higher cost, like the normal price, then obviously your cost is going to go up. So just be sure that you are not using like a sale price, even though my tins have been on sale for like a good few weeks now. They've been much cheaper and stuff, and thankfully I did stock up. I bought like 10 cases of them, and so those will last me quite a while, but I'm still going to, for the purpose of this video, put in the actual price, which after tax and all of that, it comes out to $35.30 for one case, which is 24 of the tins. And then next up is your wicks. So for this one, I did round up just a little bit, because I don't know the exact cost of shipping just specifically for the wicks themselves. Because of the fact that I never just buy wicks. I always buy like wicks and fragrance oil, or wicks and, jars, or, whatever. I always like add other things into that. And I would highly encourage you, like, that is the number one way that you're going to get your costs down, is by, finding everything that you can, or as much as you can, trying to get it all at the same supplier, or as few suppliers as you possibly can. The more suppliers that you have, the more obviously your shipping costs are going to go through the roof. Shipping is redonkulous, and I hate it. And so, it's just, it is what it is. It's super expensive, especially if you're talking like wax and vessels, because those are the two heaviest things. And so, if you can find any way to get free shipping on those, or find a local supplier close to you, I would highly encourage you to do that, if you can. But yeah, otherwise, it's just so ridiculous. But anyway, so I do round up a little bit with my wicks. They are $38, and that is for 500 of them. I do buy 500 at a time. Again, another cost-saving tip is, buying as much bulk as you possibly can without, overwhelming your, whatever area you're making in and stuff like that. And then over here, you do want to mark over here off to the side. It says how many wicks are you using. I double wick all of my candles, so we're going to put 2 there. And then next up is fragrance oil, which is probably the hardest one, because every fragrance oil is completely different. However, so for me, this is just what I do. Again, do what you want, do what you think is best for your business. So I would say 90%, 80 to 90% of my fragrance oils are between $20 and $25. I buy most of them from Candle Science, Midwest, and the Flaming Candle. Those are like my top 3 places that I get fragrance oils. So, most of my fragrances are between $20 and $25. There are a couple that are a little bit more. Most of those I do as limited editions, and so that's a whole different price point anyway. But yeah, for most of them, they are between $20 to $25. Like I said, there's a few that are between like $26 and $29. So yeah, it's totally up to you. If you want to do it, price them out as $29, you can. I do $25 just because, like I said, most of them are in that $20 to $25 range. And again, that's for 16 ounces. I have been buying more lately. I've been able to buy more of the 5 pound jugs in like our most popular scents. And as I'm getting ready for Christmas and stuff, we have like a massive Christmas market this year. And so I've been buying more 5 pound jugs, just getting ready for that and stuff like that. But for most of my fragrances, I am still buying the 16-ounce bottles. So, just do whatever obviously is the most common for you, like the most common thing that you buy or the most common size that you buy that is what I would recommend. Real fast, before we get to this next part of the video, it would mean the world to me if you would hit that like button if you are finding some value from this video, as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so that we can continue hanging out. And then lids, my lids don't cost anything extra. They are included with the tins. So I just you do have to put something because otherwise it'll like give you an error message later on. So I just put 0 and then I just put 1 in here so that, it calculates to $0 per lid. And then next up is your label cost, which for my tins, I get 3-inch circle labels, and they come out to $52.27, and that is for 600 of them. I believe it's like 100 sheets, and there's 6 on each sheet. So, yeah, 600. All right, and then now that we've got that all in there, these are really important. What size candle are you making? These are 6.5 ounce candles, not 65 ounce, they're 6.5 ounce. And then you want to put in the amount of fragrance you used, which I used 10%. And then over here, you can add your shipping cost. I personally just choose to figure it into each of, the cost of each of these, except I just realized I didn't really add it to the fragrance oil, but there's something that I'll show you at the end that you can do to kind of, make up for any things that you might have missed or anything like that. But yeah, so either you can factor in to, your prices as you're going, or you can just come down here and kind of total it up and stuff like that. It's a lot easier, obviously, if you get everything from one supplier, then your total shipping cost. If you get it from all different kinds, it's different. It's difficult because you're buying, you're usually buying different, supplies and stuff for different things, but just do your best on this to get it as accurate as you possibly can, just because, like I said, shipping is so expensive. But then the other nice thing down here is that you have this additional cost slider. This is for, your time, electricity, private label, white label, etc. Just things that are so different for everyone that you can't really, figure out exactly what it's going to be and stuff like that. So personally, I just add an extra 50 cents to the cost just to give it, a little leeway for things like, boxes, any kind of shipping materials that you need, candle care cards, business cards, all those things. I mean, they do cost, but they're all really low cost, but they do sort of add up and stuff like that. And so if you add 50 cents to your cost, that is going to obviously multiply and everything like that. So as we scroll down here, you can see your total cost per candle, which mine is $4.42. And then it shows your wholesale price, which is your cost of goods times 2. So it takes that total number of all of your cost of goods and it multiplies it by 2. And that's how you get this wholesale price number. And then your retail price is your cost of goods times 4. Which personally, I just think that is the best. I mean, you can definitely do times 5 if you want, or, or maybe even times 4. And then I've heard of some people adding an extra 10-20%, or something like that, just to, kind of make up for it. So for me personally, my tins, even though the retail price per candle is $17.69, the actual price that I charge is $19. That is with quote unquote free shipping. Obviously I am adding a few dollars there to help cover the cost of shipping and stuff. Obviously it doesn't cover the entire cost, because I would love if I could ship something for $1.50, but that is impossible in today's world, I think. So it obviously doesn't cover the entire cost, but the nice thing is, like, it's rare that I actually get anyone who buys just 110. It does happen, but not very often. But that's also what that extra 50 cents that we added up here, that also goes towards that. And like I said, it's taking your cost of goods and it's multiplying it by 4. And so, that extra, 4 times 4 is, going to make up for anything that you missed or anything like that, and then it's just going to give you your extra profit and stuff like that. My cost of goods definitely has gone up a little bit. I know my tins for sure, even though they are running a sale right now, they have gone up overall in price. When I started buying them, they were only like $26 or $27, I think, for the vessel and stuff like that. So they definitely have gone up. I have had to raise prices, but I honestly, with free shipping and stuff, I may possibly raise them again sometime soon. I don't know. Honestly, like, this isn't too bad, especially, like I said, because I sell them for $19 rather than this $17.69. Personally, and if you're not doing free shipping, I would just go ahead and add this up to 18. I would always round up to the nearest dollar, just because, like I said, that's another thing that's going to cover any extra, things that you missed, like, your box, the cost of the box and stuff like that. It'll account for maybe any shipping that you missed or things like that. That'll just help you, kind of add into that cost and stuff like that. And then another nice feature of this calculator is you can actually even calculate how many candles you're making. So say you have a big wholesale order that's 300 candles. It'll tell you your total material cost, your total profit, and then as well as, like, if it's not wholesale or whatever and you're just doing retail or whatever, it'll tell you your price for that and how much you'll make and everything like that. And then the nice thing is you can put in your email down here and send the results to yourself and keep that so that you know exactly how much you should be pricing your candles at and everything like that. So in case you don't, if you've already figured out the cost of all your goods and stuff like that, basically, long story short, you are just going to take your cost of goods and then I would multiply it by 4. And that really should be your, the price that you charge for your candles and everything. Obviously, like I said, every business is different and stuff like that. And so if you want to add a little bit more to that cost, obviously you can do whatever you want. Like, no one's going to stop you. There are people, charging well past, times 4 of their cost of goods. I heard at one time, I have no idea how true this is, but I heard from a friend that those headphones, I think it's Beats by Dr. Dre, they make them for I think it's less than $15 or whatever, and then they're at least $150, $200 for a pair of those or more. And there's people who sell paper clips, golden paper clips, for literally thousands of dollars or more. I can't remember exactly how much it is, but I'll throw it up here. If you haven't seen it, it's wild. And what's crazy to me is that there are people that I know have probably bought it. I'm just thousands of dollars for a paper clip. I mean, I wouldn't personally do that, but you know what? You do you. And I do want to talk to those few of you who I know, probably more than a few. I think most of us have an issue when we look at pricing like that, and we think, wow, that's a really high number. I don't think anyone's gonna buy my candle for that. I think that, a lot of I know for sure that a lot of small businesses have problems pricing their products and their services because there's a part of us that feels like we are pricing ourselves and what we're worth. And I think that a lot of the times we kind of tend to cheapen ourselves and think that something that we made is not really worth it. It's not really worth the higher price and stuff like that. And that is absolutely not true. Let me just speak to that right now. Absolutely not true. You are worth it. Your products are worth it. And there are people out there who will buy them. You do have to get in front of the right market sometimes. If you are going to have a higher price point, it might be a little bit more difficult. There's going to have to be some different advertising than you would do, you know, with just any lower priced candle, and stuff like that. And that's a whole other video for a whole other day. But overall, you know, whatever that price comes out to be, you know, you can definitely look into ways to get your costs down. Like I mentioned, buying in more bulk as much as you can, shopping sales, shopping, you know, just things like that as much as you can. Obviously, you know, a lot of us are working from really small studios. You know, I happen to be semi-lucky, like we have, you know, a spare bedroom. When we moved into an apartment, we got a 2-bedroom specifically so that I could have a candle studio and stuff like that in the other bedroom. And so we are lucky in that aspect. There is some room, but like honestly still not a lot. Like, I mean, every wall in here is covered with candle making stuff basically, and every closet and every crevice basically in this room is pretty full. It's hard sometimes to even get my chair here because you don't see it, but there's a bunch of boxes all around me. So yeah, so it's difficult obviously, and I know that a lot of us are working with situations like that, or even smaller situations. And so, you know, I get that it's not, you know, it's not always feasible to buy, you know, you can't buy 500 plus jars at a time to save on costs, and you can't always buy, you know, 5,000 pounds of wax or, you know, whatever, and stuff like that, because you just don't have the space for it. And I totally get that. I'm not buying that much, but I do buy, you know, a little bit. You know, if I can buy, you know, rather than buying like 4 cases of vessels, if I can buy 6 cases of vessels and save, you know, 5-10% or whatever on those vessels, I'll just go ahead and add those 2 extra vessels. And, you know, they might have to sit in our living room for a little bit or something, but, you know, it is what it is. So you can absolutely, there are so many ways that you can get your costs down and stuff like that. Shop around at other suppliers, find, you know, your wax or wicks or whatever from places that, you know, you can get them cheaper and stuff like that. Or if there's a place close to you that you can go pick up supplies rather than getting them shipped, that is always the better option. Yeah, always the better option. If you can go pick it up somewhere, I would highly recommend that you do that. But either way, I want you to know that your prices, they are fine. People will buy your candles. They will. There's a market out there for any price of candle. If it's good enough and it smells good enough, and people, you know, will find the value in it and everything like that. So I don't want you to worry about that as much as you are right now. And I know that because I did the same thing. But if you guys have any questions about today's video, if there was anything that maybe didn't quite make sense or that I glossed over and didn't explain super well, just let me know down in the comments below, and I would love to answer those questions for you. But with that, that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so incredibly much for hanging out with me. It's been fun. It's been a good time talking about pricing and stuff. But with that, there's going to be some other videos that pop up on the screen, and I will see you there.